from California. It is 9 o'clock here. I'm Francisco Savignan, the founder and CEO of EPARTRADE, and with me this morning is Judy Keene, the co-founder. Judy, how are you doing today?
Great. Good morning. Excited to have S&W Race Cars on today.
Excellent. So, I mean, you have been working with S&W for quite a long time, Judy, right?
Yeah, probably 20 years now. And when I think about them, I just think of a generation of hardcore racers building race cars. They're a full service shop offering racing products and precision services. So they're full service.
Excellent. I am getting a signal from a producer that we're getting joined by Jeff Hammond. And I see Jeff's name popping up. Good morning, Jeff. How are you today?
Morning.
Good morning,
you have a special guest with you, don't you?
Yes, I do. Daryl Gwynn, legendary drag racer and longtime friend. Real excited about him being here today. We're in the PRN studio at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So Daryl's in town for a little while. So, you know, you guys are wanting to be on part of the show. So, well, Judy and I work with him. We got him to come over here so we can kind of buddy up a little bit and have some fun. That's right.
And I'm in a wheelchair and I'm still taller than he is.
I whip my butt too.
Excellent. And I think we got everybody on.
Yep.
Excellent. Good morning, Jill.
Good morning. Good morning from Pennsylvania.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, gentlemen.
So, Jeff, you're in charge. We'll let you take over for the next hour.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, and we'll do the best we can. But the good thing about it is I got me a co-pilot today, and I'm going to make darn sure I use him up as much as I can because, again, he knows a lot more about drag racing than I'll ever know. But really excited about being here and doing it for EPARTRADE. And, folks, good to see everybody up there. How you doing this morning? You say you up in Pennsylvania. Is it raining up there?
Spring City, Pennsylvania.
Yep, it's not raining yet.
No,
Not
it's
raining yet.
a little overcast, but that's normal around here anymore.
I'd like to first step in a little bit and just say I'm really sorry for the loss of Wanda Weenie last week. I know it's a sad week around their S&W Race Cars, so I want to acknowledge that right up front, that one of the co-founders of S&W Race Cars, Walt Weenie's wife, passed last week, and our sympathies with you all.
Well, thank you, Daryl. It hits us hard because, as you'll find out through the course of this interview, we are a family. Everybody here is very tight-knit and close, and it hits you, but you know, they would want us to keep moving forward. She was a very strong lady and really the backbone of the company. So it's time to, you know, wipe our tears and keep moving forward as she would want us to. So
Amen.
thank you.
Well, I think I'm saying the same thing for me personally, and the folks at EPARTRADE feel the same way. And I think that everybody out there that's probably tuned in have got a little hurt in their heart this morning for you, because I know it's a tough time. Here you are representing your family-run operation, and that's an exciting part of it, that, you know, through the good times and the bad times, and we keep pushing forward in racing. I've seen that, you know, in drag racing and NASCAR and any style of racing, that, you know, we realize is you got to keep moving, because next week's coming. It doesn't take a time out. So again, we'll let's get focused on what we got going on here today. And for those out here that, including myself, I would like to know a little bit about the family run operation. Who would like to share with me? And, you know, please, you know, Randy and John, jump in there. Jill, you know, just lead out and tell us a little bit about your company and what you do, and let's get going here.
Well, I'm going to fill you in on our history first, because I feel it's so important. People need to trust the components and the cars they're racing, and that means we're building trust in our staff, our capabilities, so you have no problem picking up the phone and ordering your components from us. And to take you way back, Walt Wenny, our founder, along with his wife and his family, of course, it started in the 1950s. And I'm going to kind of flip through the years fast, or this whole interview could be filled with our history. Believe me, it's a long, full, rich history. But back in 1950, Walt started drag racing as a teenager, And here on the East Coast, there were not many chassis fabrication companies yet. It was kind of wide open. And he had worked for his father, who owned a sheet metal shop. So the racers and his buddies at the racetrack would come to him and start asking him to do like some tin work and some welding on their race cars. And that's what really prompted him to say, this is something I could get into. So he started working in the basement of his father's shop. That's where he got started. And along with a racing buddy of his, let me see here, Jim Amel, that's when they really kicked it off in 1959 when they became S&W Race Cars. So that's where it all started. And then from there in the 60s, it really took off. They began to outgrow their location. Of course, Walt's father's basement didn't suffice for very long. So they moved into 2 other locations during the 1960s. And at that point in time, drag racing was really starting to boom, especially with dragsters and funny cars. As everybody knows, it was just starting to take off. And that was the beauty of it. Walt being a racer, being at the racetrack, it was a constant feed of inputs, just like when you're driving a car. Racers were giving him information. He was getting information from his cars. It was just this great exchange, which helped everything keep moving forward. So our company, S&W Race Cars, kept moving forward with the industry, and everybody helped each other grow, and it just kept booming from there. So during the 1970s, I'm trying to skip through the decades here as much as I can. The whole family became involved. By the 70s, he had 4 children, 3 sons and a daughter, which I'll get into in a little bit. And they were both becoming of age and really getting involved as well. So the whole family was not only working at S&W during the week, they were going racing on the weekends. So it was nonstop. And all of us have lived the lifestyle. We all know, everybody on the screen, and including myself and Randy and John, we're all racers, so we know the gig. So it was just, they kept going, kept learning, kept expanding. And by the time they hit the 1980s, they built the building we're in today, which I believe would have been their 3rd building, from what I understand.
3rd building.
3rd building. And that was completed in 1988, which was about 16,000 square feet. Then in the 90s, they had acquired in that time SRD Racing,
Right.
and that brought on a whole other line of, we were more focused on funny cars and dragsters, and they were more into door cars and door slammers.
Right. You remember them for the early pro stock cars at Jenkins, came out of SRD with S&W's help.
Yes.
And
Okay.
then we outgrew that building, so we had to add on to this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now we're 27,000 square feet. And during that time, you have to imagine Walt and his family, they were just taking every opportunity they could to keep advancing and moving forward and staying ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Because everything was changing so quickly in that time. It was what worked last week doesn't work next week. And that as well, all of us know it's so important when you're racing to be on top. Everybody wants to be on top.
You had a slew of racers in the Pennsylvania area and the East Coast of the country. You had more racers there in the 70s and 80s. So there was a very quick education process from all these input from all these racers. Racing was so big in that part of the country back then, and it still is. But to your point, what worked one week didn't the next, because you had so many people that were around buying your stuff and contributing to the growth of S&W.
Yes, Gary Wenny, one of Walt's sons, he was telling me, and Scott would confirm this, everybody would say it, back in the heyday of funny car racing, the match racers, between match racing and being on the national circuit, there would be a line of rigs on Monday morning out here waiting for repair work to bodies and chassis. And they said literally it would be a line down the road.
Yeah.
And
Mondays and Thursdays, because there used to be a lot of Wednesday night match racing back then. So you never knew what was going to meet you at the shop on any week morning.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
But Walt did not do it alone. As I mentioned, he had his wife Vonda, his sons Gary, Scott, Michael, and his daughter Terry, who all helped out, and they went everywhere, and they were a major part of the business. And that lasted until Walt retired in 2005. I know I'm skipping a little ahead, but we don't have enough time, like I said, to go through everything. When Walt finally retired, he passed the torch to his son, Scott. And Scott was in charge of the company and led all the initiatives and kept it growing for about 10 years. And unfortunately, he passed away early in 2015. Then his brother Michael took over the presidency and started making advancements. And still, the whole time, everybody is keeping the business moving forward. And we became a little more focused on sportsman racing, bracket racing, as still heavily involved in alcohol, funny cars, but that started to taper off a little bit. And we started to really focus more on the bracket racer. High dollar bracket racing started to gain popularity. And that's the direction we started to focus in.
We also branched out to, we weren't only building our own race cars, we're now supplying people who were building race cars. We were sending them components. So now we're not only building S&W race cars, we've got our hands in other little shops all over the East Coast. And some on the West Coast too. So the business has really grown from just building customers' cars to now we're supplying other builders. So it's
A lot
really
of
taken off.
Yes, private labeled components, specially equipment, and that's another division of our company is S&W Precision Specialties, where we're a full service machine shop, offer water jet services, all kinds of bending and fabricating, a lot of the same skills you use in race car building, but more into the industrial realm. And that again made the company just expand beyond belief, working on everything from military contracts, parts for submarines, stages.
Wow.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Quite a bit different when I was
stuff.
there in 1980.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember that when you were here in 1980, actually.
Yeah, stages for rock concerts and you name it. A lot of specialty vehicles for Hollywood. We've done some very unique things here, which is fun. It keeps it exciting for everybody.
Absolutely.
Instead of the same stuff every day, day in, day out, you'll be like, wow, what's that?
So your company is almost representative of a octopus as far as that's concerned. You got so many arms out there. Each time you needed to branch out, you just add another arm to the company. So the next thing you know, you almost look like an octopus. I think where I wanted curious about, getting us up here closer to how you are today. Describe your company as far as total employees, your engineering staffs and stuff like that. I mean, how big is your company right at the moment?
About 25 employees, most of them fabricators. All of our fabricators are very qualified. Most of them can run just about every machine in the building, but we try to get them focused on certain things. We've got people who focus on just building frames. We've got somebody who builds just rear housings. Another guy two other people who just bend roll bars all day, every day. So we have a lot of small components going out the door. And we've got our water jet program. That's got a couple of employees dedicated just to that. We've got a machinist who's dedicated to nothing but machinery. And we've got a shipping department because there's FedEx, UPS trucks. Everybody's pulling out of here all day long. That's about where we're at. And this, of course, the sales staff, the busiest people in the building seem to be sales.
Well, FedEx trucks and UPS trucks are a lot better than a bunch of racers trucks because they're a pain compared to the other to the shipping trucks. We want our stuff done overnight. Those guys are picking stuff up and shipping it overnight. You're making money with those guys.
Yeah, well, I wasn't
I'm
gonna say that.
glad you said it, Daryl. So we didn't have to. No, it's a love-hate relationship, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But we all know it, and that's the beauty of it. We can relate, and that's what makes us, I feel, a little bit different or similar to a lot of the other companies out there, and sets us aside from a lot of the other companies out there, is that a large percentage of our staff are racers or members of a team.
Yep.
Or they're hardcore enthusiasts.
Yeah.
So when we make your products and make these products, we totally understand what you need them to do, how they have to perform, how you have to trust them, how they need to be durable and hold up to the abuse, because we put them through the abuse.
Yeah, and if you have a question about the product and you call in, you're gonna get somebody on the phone who's either designed it, built it, or installed it. So we pretty much, you know, we're selling products that we know how to use and how they're supposed to work.
Very important.
So,
Right.
yep.
And I'm just going to kind of wrap up the history segment a little bit here with myself before I head down in the shop and give you a glimpse of what's going on down there.
Okay.
Terry Wenny is now our current president, I'm sorry, Terry Wenny Godalik. She is now married to Mike Godalik, her husband, and she's doing a great job and looking to take our company to the next level. And it's an exciting time for us. I don't know how else to describe it, because it's been a long time where we're always advancing, but now it's like we can see that plateau and we're ready to take that leap. So Terry now is going to join you while I go down into the shop. But one second, I did want to read off a quick list of some of our customers here over the years. People such as Dodger Glenn, Joe Amato, Jungle Jim, Roy Harris, Bill Mitchell, Bill Jenkins, as John had mentioned, Tony Bartone, Jeff Rapp, Bob Newberry, Alexis DeJoria, Mike and Kent Lewis, Nick Bonafonte, Paul Gill, Al Kenny, and of course, there are so many in between. I know I'm missing names, but Jerry and Daryl Gwynn.
Yeah.
So with further ado, and I even have a picture here of one of their dragsters with a time slip, and I'll hand that to Terry because I know she would love to say hello to you, Daryl.
Oh my.
Excellent.
Well, thank you very much, Jill. Look forward to hearing from you a little bit later on. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing?
Hi,
Great,
Terry.
how are you?
Oh my gosh.
I just stopped in to really say hi because these guys know what they're doing. But they told me you were going to be here, so I wanted to make sure I said hi.
It's very nice to see you.
Yeah, it's been a long time, huh?
Yes, it has.
Yeah, we have a great team here. We couldn't do it without these guys, everybody. And they're all either racers involved in racing, and they love the sport, which is great, and they want to be here. So can't ask for much more.
Absolutely.
From what I'm seeing, you know, getting the history lesson we just did, I know that one of the folks that are tuned into the show today was talking about how interesting it is to understand how the S&W came about. And he says that Walt had told him the story many years ago. So he was enjoying basically an opportunity to go back through and understand where it originated from and where it has progressed. I mean, it's hard to conceive a company like yours that's been around this long and done this much for the sport. I mean, for me, I'm pleasantly, you know, surprised. And I love the fact that, you know, it has been such a family driven company. And to see it grow, I mean, just leaps and bounds, and you continue to look for new and uncharted territory to get into. I think that's what's impressive, because you got engineers and I guess, you know, great people as far as salespeople are concerned, coming up with different manufacturing ways to create more revenue for the company. But at the same time, you're looking at who around the world can use our product and what products are needed, not only today, but in the future, to be being basically a pioneer and always kind of setting the trend. is very impressive.
Yeah, proud of you guys.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And part of the family is like John. He's been here off and on through the years since I was a teenager. So John's been with us, and we have other employees that have been here 20 plus years, 15 plus years. So they're very invested, and we're a tight-knit family.
Mhm.
And I have no problem listening to their ideas. They say, hey, why don't we try this? Why don't we do that? Okay, let's jump in with both feet and go.
Yeah.
What can go wrong?
Everybody building contributes to the product.
Well, you know, we've already got a question here, and Rich was wondering, how do you go about designing your different kits? I mean, you know, we were talking earlier about, you know, what we're doing, and I see that she has gotten down on the into the shop itself. But
Yeah.
real quick, I mean, how do y'all come up with the right ideas as far as the kits and who needs what?
Well, we listen to the customer for one thing, and we've got Randy who's at a racetrack every week. I go to racetracks as often as I can. So you kind of have to keep up with the trends that are going on out there right now. For the longest time, it was dragsters, funny cars. Then the bracket racing thing kicked off, and there was a lot of door cars in bracket racing. Then it became economical or feasible to start running dragsters as bracket cars. And we focused on that and improved our dragster so they were good bracket cars, because there's a difference between a bracket car and something that's going to be built for comp eliminator or something like that. And we're still doing that, because now we're hearing more and more people are going back to door cars. So we're trying to keep that product line fresh. Pickup trucks, people want to drag race pickup trucks now, so we're trying to develop product line along the S10s are crazy. I mean, we're turning out S10 frames every day, roll bars a couple a day. I don't know where all these cars or trucks are coming from, but man, we're building a lot of parts. And then there's a lot of people going back and they're finding Vegas and Pintos, and they want to make nostalgia cars. So we're trying to keep up on that type of stuff too.
Now, the shot we're seeing, is that still the
There you go.
in Spring City?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're actually across the street from the shop you would have visited back in the 80s, Daryl.
Yeah, we're actually in the middle of a cornfield across the street.
Right. That right there is our tube cutting machine. It's a CNC plasma driven tube cutter. He's unloading a piece now. We put in 20 to 24 foot long lengths of tubing in there. And primarily it's dedicated to making roll bars and frame rails.
Right.
When it spits the piece out, the end is miter cut or coped, so that the fit, you know, you can put that tube against another round component on the roll bar and it matches up. It's easy to weld. So that's what he's doing right there. And it'll go from that station to another station. You know, you got your end product. Here's your roll bar all bent.
How many different type of these kits do you offer for different cars, dragsters, whatever?
Wow. For door cars and trucks, we've probably got over 1,000 different roll bars.
All that's programmed into the machines?
Yes.
Yes.
Here, right there, that shot is all the different frame rails we make. Those are our masters. We periodically, when we make frame rails, we can check against the master. So you got frame rails up there for 62 Falcons, second, third gen Camaros. And these are roll bars that they're going to get bent, bundled up, and go out in FedEx. So we've got hundreds and hundreds of combinations here. That's the CNC bender.
Yep.
So that'll knock a roll bar out I think we can do a 10-point roll bar in about 25 minutes from raw material to having it banded up and ready for FedEx to pick it up. So that goes on all day.
That's amazing right there. It really is.
Yeah. I think she's heading over to where the jigs are built. That's just some miscellaneous machinery, obviously. Yeah, these are workstations over here. John's cutting off. Not everything's cut in the plasma machine. Sometimes you have to hand cut stuff. That's a cross member he's shortening up to put into a kit.
Quite a bit different from the old place I went to.
How about it?
Yeah.
I think the only thing the same that's the same, Daryl, as the rack we keep the raw material on.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Well, and Gary's still here.
yeah.
Gary's still there, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, how about Don Scholl? Is he still around?
He actually just retired, what, 3 years ago?
Yeah,
Oh,
he's living down in Florida.
I thought that, yeah.
Yeah, he pops in when he comes up here for the summer to race.
Yeah, he comes up for the summer and they run a .90 car, him and his son.
Very cool. Well, that's cool that he's still in the family and all you guys. That's
Oh, yeah.
just, it gives me the chills that you guys are all still family run sport. I mean, business after all these years.
Yeah.
You know, you see the Morosos and we saw what happened. You know, Rick Moroso is still in charge of Moroso, but you know, these family run companies, they sometimes, you know, if there's no kids to take over, you see the family run businesses get bought out. But it's great to see that the family is still involved and all you guys are like family and you just still keep pushing and pushing.
Yep, that's true.
Hey, real quick, what are we looking at here? I know it's a chassis of some kind, but since I'm not a drag racer, I'm not sure what I'm seeing.
I'm not sure what I'm looking at either.
All right,
Okay.
that's two versions of a back half. The one you're looking at right now is round tube chromoly. It's a 4-link kit. You would cut the floor out of the back of your Camaro and put that in, and now you'd have a race car suspension under it and a really stable platform. And that version right there is the 2x3, which is a lot of guys who want to build pro touring or pro street cars will go with the 2x3. It's a little more stable if you're going to run the thing on the street. And this right here is one of the frames. That is a jig where the rails are put in and all the cross members and all the suspension brackets are located from the jig. It'll be tacked up, and later on this afternoon, it'll come out and they'll weld it up and we'll have another one ready to get shipped.
Beautiful workmanship right there.
Thank you.
Yes.
Really nice.
Yeah, we've got a lot of good employees, are really talented people.
Do you have a quality control
Yes.
officer or individual that checks the tubing as it comes in? I know with a lot of, us here in stock
Yeah.
car, we check our stuff to make sure that what we're getting is very consistent, so we are able to be dependable on what we're getting on flex and everything like that.
Yeah, we do that. There's different people that do it. Somebody who might inspect the inbound raw material is not the same guy who's going to inspect the outbound finished product. But yeah, we do that. Plus, we've been working with the same suppliers for so long. They know how fussy we are, and
Right.
they actually will cater to our needs. But yeah, okay, that right there is a rear housing that's going to go into one of our S10 frames. That's a standard 9-inch Ford with a back brace, ladder bar brackets on it. That jig is set up to do nothing but rear housings all day, every day. For just about every frame we build, we end up building a rear housing. So that's that workstation.
Now, do y'all have a variety of materials that you build with, or do you stay with just basically, chromoly throughout the whole deal?
No, we offer mild steel and chromoly. What you're looking at right there is that's two rear housings. The top one is a chromoly fabricated rear housing, very specific for a specific chassis, probably custom ordered to a specific width. And that is a standard rear that will go in one of our chassis kits. But we offer the different materials because of the difference in price. So the guy who doesn't have the big budget can still build a race car. He just can't build it out of chromoly. And also we find that some of our racers, our customers, they don't want to TIG weld everything. And then the sanctioning bodies require anything that's chromoly to be TIG welded. So, but if they build it out of mild steel, they can use a MIG welder. So that's why we have choices in materials.
Okay. With that being said, we see a lot of these parts are uncoated.
Mhm.
Can the parts be specced with paint or powder coating from your company?
They can, but usually we will let the customer do that themselves. A lot of our suspension components will go out powder coated, but rear housings, generally the customer wants to take care of doing that himself. This is one of our rear engine dragsters that Randy might know the details on it. This was sold to a customer, a longtime customer of ours. It's not the first car he's ordered from us.
This is it's a 240 swing arm 4-link dragster. There's some custom stuff on it. All our cars are pretty much, when they're ordered, we do them custom to fit you. You can mount the shifter, put the dash where you'd like it. This is going to get a race pack. The dash is laying there. You can see it's cut out for the race pack. The shifter's mounted. He's finishing mounting the deflector plate this morning, and then he's going to start mounting the body.
Yeah, body's nice.
It's getting a one-piece fiberglass body. It'll have aluminum engine panels on it.
See, we have a carbon fiber seat insert. That's a 4-link car.
That torque arm don't go with the drag.
No, these cars have changed a bit since you drove them, Daryl. You got a drag with the rear suspension on it.
Now, with that being said, and what we're looking at here and what you were describing, can you get a turnkey, I mean, complete, ready to race type deal from your company?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, we can build it however you'd like it.
And we've done it every different way. We send it out as a kit, separate pieces. They build them at home, and we send them out the door, where we've actually taken the car and met the owner at the racetrack and watched them make test runs with it.
This car right here, this guy brought us his car, and he wants it all redone. He sent us a Scott Schafferoff motor. There's an FTI transmission and converter here for it. We're going to take the back half kit that is in it. He doesn't like it. It's somebody else's product. He wants our stuff underneath it, so we're putting a whole frame underneath it, rewiring it, plumbing it. He'll be able to start it and drive it out of here when it's done.
Okay, we got another question. And since we're at this juncture with this vehicle, have y'all got a design you're going to put underneath here? Because, you know, do y'all develop the chassis and suspension parts, you know, for this particular car after looking at what was there and what he didn't like? I mean, how do you handle that as far as your company's concerned?
He's seen one of our Pro Touring kits, which is more of a street version of the back half. That's what he's going to put underneath this. He's going to more drive this car on the street, maybe race it once or twice a year, but it's more going to be a cruiser.
Okay.
And our Pro Touring back half is set up for that. It's very reliable on the street. You could actually put, you know, take it to do a track day and it would perform well at the track, or you can take it to a drag strip, but it'll perform well at a drag strip.
You guys got a lot more stuff than when I was there last time. That's for sure.
Yeah, about it. Yeah, this is the machine shop area back in here. We got CNC milling and CNC turning and CNC press brakeys. Jill's walk. Probably being shut down to set up for the next job, and I believe the machine is to be at lunch.
Uh-oh. What's that mean?
Now, Terry, this may be something you can help us with. Al would like to know, can you tell us the NHRA champion winners and world champions that have drove, maybe y'all have helped with, or
That's
cars
like
that
a
have come out of your
history
shop?
lesson. I don't know that I can answer that.
Manzo for sure.
Sort of breaking up here. Uh-oh.
We didn't really hear the question. I'm just going to narrate. This is the water jet, which is also shut down because it's launched, but that's a CNC machine. It'll cut it's right now it's set up to cut an outside customer's parts out of stainless steel. And this one is cutting right at the moment. You can see, I mean, this is how diverse we are. This is cutting out rubber gaskets for people that make electrical boxes to seal the boxes off. And we have a second water jet over here, which is usually dedicated to S&W products. I think today we're cutting steel in it. We usually cut our suspension brackets, our mid plates, our motor plates come out of that. And Jill's now heading back to shipping and receiving. And I think the shipping and receiving area is as big as the shop you were probably in, Daryl, back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But this is our warehouse. All the products we make and everything we sell, other components, rod ends, brake kits, struts, shocks, springs, hardware is all kept back here.
So Jill can hear me. That sticker that was on the cabinet back there, that yellow and black sticker, that's an important sticker to show everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it
Because
is.
that describe that for everybody that's on, Terry.
Well, we were nominated to be chassis builder of the year, and I think it was actually 2 or 3 years.
We were nominated many years. We won it twice.
And we won it twice, which is quite an honor.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Over the years, there have been many honors to the company, Walt, Scott, and all of our customers. I mean, we have so many customers that have had great achievements. It's really something to be proud of.
There's a lot of hardcore racers that part of the country. That's for sure.
Yeah, we're lucky to have so many drag strips around us and dirt tracks. There's a lot of racing in this area.
Yes, there is.
Okay, if we've got somebody watching here and they were wondering about, you got all these parts and pieces, and some of them, you got the chassis that come in, but yet you still have to finish assemble them. So what does the average race team need equipment wise to be able to complete putting some of your components, together?
Like if they bought one of our kits, what do they need in their shop?
Yeah.
We'll start with a tape measure, a welder.
I mean, do you need a jig? I mean, do you need a fixture or something to work off of, a surface plate or something?
Yes and no. If you're gonna build a dragster, an altered, or a roadster, you really need some type of a jig. With the door cars, we put them on a jig, but you don't necessarily need them. You can use the body of the car as the jig. You just have to get it leveled, squared, and you build the chassis inside the body. So there's, I mean, a lot of our customers, they're going to build one car. They're not going to invest in a jig plate.
Yes.
But, they'll come up with something. They'll go get an I-beam or something and build it from that. Those are rear housings for our inventory.
I know it's not recommended, but we've done a lot of stuff off the floor before back in the day, and we were successful at doing it at the time because that's all we had to work with. But obviously, jigs are much better.
Yeah, I still talk to customers every day who, do I need a jig? And I tell them, no, you don't. But you've got to establish some plane as being the baseline, the ground level. Or and you work off of that, call that ground zero and work from there up. And then once you've got like that back half, once you've got that in the car, that becomes your reference point for everything, your wheelbase, where you're going to locate your shocks, your roll bar is going to tie into that. That's more inventory waiting to get shipped out right there.
Okay, let me ask you this. When you do sell a kit and you're telling the purchaser, and they're asking questions, again, I'm talking about a novice. I'm not talking about people who really are experienced racers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an outline? Do you have like an assembly ABC? You need to do this first. You need to do that next, and try to get this. And I'm saying something to kind of like follow along?
Yeah, all of our products, they're getting to be available. We have instructions for all of them. Most of them are on the
Okay.
web. If you were to buy a chassis, let's say for a 2005 Mustang, you want to put a tube chassis in it, we have a kit for it. You're going to get all the tubing from us cut to a nominal length with a door card. We don't like to have finished lengths because even when they come off the production line, tolerances aren't held that tight. But you're going to get a full set of drawings that shows you where every tube goes in relationship to some component on the body, say the wheel opening at the back. And
Correct.
then you get a bill of materials. The items are all numbered, and that ties to the detailed drawings. And those two things will help you get the kit together. And of course, we have an 800 line that can always call in and we'll help you walk through it. But most of our kits have been built so many times that we've added information to our drawings based on customer feedback. So they're pretty detailed instructions they get.
I think that's one of the most important things you've said here, is because, you know, there's people of all types of ages and knowledge and everything across the country that buy these kits, and we really have to be prepared for whatever they may have, you know, physically and mentally capable of. You know, they may not have all the tools, they may not have all the expertise, but if they got the instructions, I can read instructions.
Yeah, that's basically right. We do get a lot of, and we use that feedback from our customers to improve our product lines. Everything, even roll bars, you know, we get cars in here that we measure the car and make a roll bar for it. And we might get feedback from a customer saying, you know, if you could just make this bend a little bit tighter, it would really fit the car a lot better. And we'll take all of that into consideration, and we'll change the product line or improve it if that's what we think is going to work best.
Well, I think that's a tribute to you guys realizing, as you say, and you're talking to your customers, you know, you're getting feedback, and that feedback helps the future of the sport because you're educating people that don't have the experience,
Right.
but yet they want to get in the game. If you understand what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah.
having somebody that you can pick up the phone, ask a question, because, you know, they don't understand it the way you know, if you got the outline. But the more that you can get that kind of confidence, you talked about that earlier, people have got confidence and got trust that no matter what they get from you, you're going to get the service, you're going to get a product that's well built to begin with. And then if you just will listen to us, you can create your own basically hot rod and make it work the way it needs to. And if you need a little help, we're here to help you.
Yep, they get confidence in us, and then they pass that information on to their buddies, and that's how we grow our customer base. I think through our product support and the quality of our product.
Yeah, and when customers call in, I mean, they can, not knowing where to start, Randy can tell them, hey, ask them first, what kind of car you got? What do you want to do with it? And he can tell them, well, here's where you want to start. Here's what you want to do first. And depending on how much money you have, do this, and it'll get you started. And then down the road, you can add this, this, and this. So we can guide them through this process.
Yeah.
You know, you made me think about this, and Randy, maybe you can help answer the question. Have you been stumped on anything anybody's called in and said, we want to take this and make it into a drag racer? Because, you know, automatically we think about Novas and Camaros and Mustangs, you know, Cudas, you know what I'm saying, Chrysler products. But have you been, anybody called you and say, hey, I want to do this? You had to kind of like, I'll get back with you.
Yeah, that we had a guy the other week that had a front wheel drive. I forget what it was, a Pontiac something, front wheel drive, and he was going to make it rear wheel drive, and he wanted to move. The motor was going to be in the middle of the car, and he had some crazy project he was trying to do.
Oh, he was a rocket scientist. Is that what you're telling me? He's a rocket scientist.
Yeah.
But not, I mean, most of the time they're pretty good. They have a basic idea.
Yeah, sometimes you have to steer them in a slightly different direction. An example of that is a lot of, like we said, the S10s are red hot. A lot of guys will buy a standard cab S10, and then all of a sudden they want to go fast enough where they need a certified chassis. And you have to break their heart. Like by the time you get all the components in that chassis and in the cab of that truck to make it certifiable, the driver won't be able to get in the vehicle. You should have started with an extended cab. We try to steer them in that direction too. But they do stump us once in a while, but we usually come up with a pretty good alternative.
I do have a question. Is Jill lost? I mean, she has shown us a lot of this. I mean, I look, okay, well, we're in the offices and all of a sudden, we're in the foyer. She's everywhere.
Yeah, she hasn't even hit the second floor yet.
We've seen everything but the dumpster.
Hey, Jill, we don't need to see the ladies' room. Okay, we don't need to see the
Okay, all right. Well, this was my last stop before the ladies' room, but I'm going to end it right here and join you back up in the conference room in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
I hope you enjoyed the tour.
Daryl,
It has been fascinating. It really has.
Your experience with us.
I'm sorry.
I said, maybe you can tell us a little bit about your history and experience with S&W.
Well, it's funny you asked because I remember it well, and it seemed like every time I needed something from you guys, it was an emergency. I would come up there out of desperation and spend 3 or 4 days at a time up there, and either because I had a crash race car that you were fixing or updating or moving the motor or moving something in the car. But I got to thinking on the way over here, the first 4 to 5 years of my career, all I did was drive S&W cars, and my dad in the late 70s had a S&W car that I got my license in. So basically the car I got my license in up to for the first 5 years of it. There you go. That's a picture right there of me and Bill Mullins in the final in Fremont, California, where that car right there
didn't even have paint on it yet.
It didn't even have paint on it, and it ran like you can't believe. That was the quickest side-by-side run ever in the history of the sport. And it was just some old hillbillies out of South Florida named Daryl Gwynn and Jerry Gwynn.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, and like I say, you make it seem like it was just yesterday.
Well, those were great times. And, I remember I've had dinner with the family at the house before, and I've rode with Terry on her horses back in the day. Do you still have a horse, Terry?
No, but I actually live in the same neighborhood where that farm was and where I used to live.
Oh yeah, but I go back a long ways with the Weenie family, and all great people. We were family racing, and my dad used to race against Walt. So that's kind of how it all started. My dad went up there and bought his car. My dad ran a very competitive car that you guys built. As a matter of fact, the car that you guys built for my dad was an alcohol funny car, and it was a very, very competitive and a good looking car. But it also had, if you remember, we had a funny car body and we had an altered body for it. And it was a really, really good looking car. And you could either have a bodied car that was hard to drive or a altered car that was hard to drive, because either one of them back in the day, they were both not easy to drive. But then you stick an altered body on it with a wing on it, and it tended to be a wild ride back then.
Now, Daryl and I were talking earlier, the progression of drag racing, where suspension cars are getting more into today's. I mean, that's where the speed's coming from now. You guys are making changes, and it's these cars are going faster and faster because of it, and we're talking about, even though the tracks are getting shorter, you guys are still achieving incredible speeds. How do you continue to be on the cutting edge and learning how to apply this? I mean, do y'all spend a lot of time at the racetrack testing with your teams, or is it all through feedback?
I don't know. On the bracket side, I mean, I race every weekend. I'm mainly at Maple Grove. If they're not running, I go somewhere else. Just over the years, the experience talking to other people, talking to other customers, the 4 links on the car today, they're more of a safety deal. I mean, you get a solid car, the speeds they're running, these tracks back, some of the tracks ain't exactly smooth. You get into a bouncing problem when you're trying to stop. So the 4 link anymore today, you don't see too many dragsters not having a rear suspension.
I was telling Jeff earlier that how impressed I am with some of these Pro Mod cars that are running so fast with suspension.
Yeah.
And for me, I've never raced a car with suspension in my whole life. So to look at a Pro Mod and the motor, the way that if you just physically look at a Pro Mod, the motor's hanging almost over the front end of the car. It doesn't look like it will go down the racetrack. I mean, I would never think a car that had that much weight on the front end could go down the racetrack. But the suspension of those cars have allowed, you know, the technology has allowed these cars to be incredibly fast and grip the track, you know, with an amazing effort from the suspension that just blows me away these days.
Yeah, well, that's where the 4-link comes in. It's very tunable, so you can set up the instant center and how it's going to transfer the weight. And what they're doing with shock absorbers is crazy these days. That does take a rocket scientist, I think, sometimes to figure out the shock settings. But you know, it's the tunability of the car. We're building suspensions that they can fine tune, dial the car in for any racetrack. Yeah.
What do you see in the future as far as, you know, your operation is concerned? What's going to be the next big step do you foresee?
Well, we're
Revolution.
we're still sort of recovering from the whole COVID thing.
Right.
We have awesome customers that stuck with us. We shut down for a little bit. March, April, in June, we started bringing employees back. They were willing, they placed orders with us just to be in line to get their parts, even though we were working remotely, and it was just a handful of us here in the building till we felt good enough and everybody felt comfortable enough to come back to work. And our shop is so big, we're spaced out enough that we're not on top of each other. And like I said, we're pretty much a family. We've been through this all together, and we've all been together every day, day in and day out. And luckily we've fared very well through this. But right now we're sort of rebuilding, reorganizing, cleaning, replacing equipment, just some of the stuff that hasn't been done over the years, and we're really focusing on the parts part of the business. We have a few cars coming in and out, but it's actually hard to find skilled workers. We're lucky we have the crew that we have here. They're all very good at what they do. They're very knowledgeable, and everybody works well together. But it's more of ramping up the equipment to be ready to do anything and adjust with the technology.
Yeah, you've got a great group of loyal employees there for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, the other thing is too, real quick, I just want to make sure that I shared this with you, that Jill and everybody there, y'all did a great job as far as the tour is concerned. We had an opportunity to see behind the scenes and see where the backbone of this company is. Hey, there you are, Jill. How you doing? You must have got back from the ladies' room.
Sweet in here, Jill.
But no, yeah, I mean, that's one of the cool things right now. And I'm so excited about being a part of EPARTRADE and what they have come up with to allow someone like me, you know, I've been around racing my entire life, but, you know, I don't know drag racers. I've learned so much in the last 6 months from going into some of the shops from, transmission bills to your company now. Get my eyes open, now I get to hang out with Daryl, I haven't seen him in a couple of years. So it's really refreshing to see that this type of company, and I'm talking about EPARTRADE, coming up with a platform where we get an opportunity to do a Zoom call and all of a sudden catch up with what's going on in your world. And clearly you can see y'all are building stuff as fast as you can and popping stuff out, and you're there to serve everybody, not just the racers, the military, and any kind of local companies that we can help. We're a big business, and at the same time, it's very refreshing, I think, once again, to go back to the fact you're a family owned, you're grassroots, racers and a company, and you've grown throughout the years and decades, I should say, to get where you are today. And, you still have an extremely bright future.
Yes, you do.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
I like the fact that we got the tour, and for everybody on this whole thing, that they got the tour as well. We got to see the behind the scenes, and it's one thing to sit here and talk about the technical stuff. It's another thing to see people actually doing the work and how the work is being done.
Yeah, we're glad to share that with you. A lot of people who come and pick up parts want to get tours. And we used to do it, but now you really can't do that because, you got to be so careful with what's going on. But
Yeah,
it's
you
a
really
great
do.
opportunity for us to show our shop to the world.
Well, the cool thing about it too, let's don't forget, everything you did today, Jill, it's now been documented. It will be archived, and you can go to EPARTRADE and you can pull it up and look at it. If you wanted to see more, because again, I hated the fact that, we were talking and, trying to get through a lot of other stuff. I wish we'd had more time to say, okay, what are we looking at here, Jill?
Yeah.
Fortunately, John was giving us a lot of tutorial stuff, as we went through, and he really did a great job of seeing and talking about what you were showing. But I know right now for myself, I'd love to go back and look at it again, because I am a mechanical gear, geek to a certain degree. I love equipment.
Yep.
And what it can do for you. I mean, the laser, cutting the tubing like it is, the automated benders. I mean, all that stuff there is what makes your company efficient and accurate. That's the repeatability, consistency is so important in anything. That's where I was asking about your quality control. If you get a bad batch of tubing, that can affect the overall performance of a race car. So, you got to build, once again, go back to that trust deal that we talked about so much early on. You've got to get that established. You got to know when I pick up the phone, when it gets here, I don't have to question it's going to be right.
Right.
And I think, again, that's a big tribute to the process that y'all have put into place. Excellent job. And I'm excited for the future. I think Daryl will say the same thing. I think anybody that's involved in racing, drag racing in particular, S&W is where you need to go.
It puts a smile on my face to talk to all you guys, and
It's nice to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you. Thanks for the
yeah,
opportunity.
I feel like I'm part of their family, even though I haven't seen all of them in so many years.
Well, we're having a family reunion
Yes,
today.
we are.
Yeah,
It's all good. I won a lot of
Well, and-
races with these guys,
Yeah.
and we had a lot of fun, and we didn't realize how much fun we were having, did we?
No. And Jeff, anytime you're in the area and you want to stop in, and Daryl, of course, you're welcome to come in. Give us
Well,
a call,
hopefully
we'll
maybe I
give you the
can,
tour.
because again, things are starting to free up a little bit, and I feel good about going to companies. I'm a lot like you. There are certain places I go regularly. I have no problem going in their business. I love talking racing with them, but I want to make sure everybody feels comfortable that I can come through your company and not be a threat to you. Because I can already tell y'all are not a threat to each other, so I feel comfortable coming in there. That's a great
Yeah,
thing.
we're good.
I think we got Francis sitting here. He is getting ready to come out. We're getting right at the end of our little deal. But folks, y'all have got a wonderful company. I'm excited you're part of the EPARTRADE family also. And I know that Judy speaks very highly of you. She gave me a lot of insight
Yes,
before
she
we got a
does.
chance to, to talk today about how wonderful you folks have been. So it's a pleasure to meet you. And again, good luck in the future.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Jill, for organizing the tour and doing the little rehearsal on Monday to make sure everything works smoothly. And it worked beautifully, right, Judy?
Yes, it did. Thank you, everybody at S&W. Appreciate that. Thank you,
Okay.
Jeff, for helping Daryl.
You
Thank
He
bet.
you.
helped me.
Thank you very
He
much.
helped me.
I know. You both were so excited to see each other.
Excellent. But thank you very much. The webinar has been recorded. It will be posted on the EPARTRADE platform and on YouTube within the next hour. And next week, we'll be back here for double webinars. We'll have the people from Intercomp. We're going to be talking about chassis setup. And then we're going to have our good friend from Racer joining us. And we're going to go inside SVRA and Trans Am. So next week we'll talk we'll talk road racing, sorry, and then we'll talk chassis setup equipment. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next Wednesday. In the meantime, S&W products have been pushed to the homepage of the EPARTRADE platform. So please feel free to log in, go on there and check it out, and then connect with them directly. Right, Judy?
Perfect. Well said. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.